It definitely is. Well, man, it's great to meet you. I'm going to delve into your life as a writer, but before we do that, I want to know, 4 years ago we were trying to figure out how we were going to get through this pandemic, when it was going to end, all of those things. How did you
Mhm.
ultimately get through the pandemic, and how did it change the way that you approach life now?
It's a great question. Um, yeah, the whole pandemic deal. Well, let's see, I was only 20 years old. So I mean, I'm still young now, but I was probably younger back then. And I started a business like February of 2020, so right before it started, and it was a product-based business. So I was selling and making neckties, right? So uh I I guess I got through it because I just was focusing on how I was going to build this business, right? Like um I, I I just had just tunnel vision on on this business, where it was going to go, what I wanted it to do. And so I didn't really pay much attention to what was going on, what wasn't going on, how things changed, how things were different. I just was just tunnel visions on this business. And I also, I was a missionary for my church, and I went to Florida and Alabama. When I got home was the beginning of 2020. So I had come off of this 2-year grind, essentially, of just focusing on the the mission and the stuff that I was serving the communities down there. So I came into it with, I just kind of came back after my life had been on pause, and I started this business, and I didn't have an interest in focusing on the news and what was going on. I just wanted to focus on the business. So I just got really tunnel visioned. And at the time I was living with my parents. Uh, and so I was always around my family. You know what I mean? And so for me, I don't know. I know for a lot of people it was tough, but for me, I didn't really feel like it was, I don't know. I don't want to say it was a breeze, but for me, I didn't have anyone close to me that got super sick. I didn't have anyone close to me that passed away, luckily. So I just was able to, yeah, I guess tunnel vision, and still enjoy the challenge of trying to grow a business.
Yeah. So let's get into the heart and soul right now in 2024, what you do on a daily basis. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders at career day, and one of the
Mhm.
kids says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
Oh man. Well, right now, I work. I have a job I don't like very much. I don't think I'd be very I would want to instill hope in the third graders, but I don't know if my job would do that. I clean trash cans uh Tuesday through Saturday, and so Mondays are my day off. And I'm at this specific business because I know the owner fairly well, and it's a business opportunity for me. And so on a daily basis, for me, I'm still very entrepreneur minded. That first business I started, it eventually kind of fizzled out, and I just decided to sell it. Um, I didn't make millions of dollars or anything like that. If that were the case, I don't think I'd be cleaning trash cans. Um, but the daily grind for me is remembering why I'm doing something I don't want to do every day, and trying to stay focused on the fact that what I want out of my life is going to be an outcome of hard work, and I'm not going to get it unless I do the hard work. And so while I have this job that I don't like, I'm doing it for a very pointed reason. And once the day's over, then that's when I focus on what I'm passionate about. Focus on talking about emotional resilience, or writing, or I play soccer regularly. Um, so it's all with the undertone of the outcome will happen so long as I work right now.
So what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream?
In the third grade, my dream as a third grader, I got to think about that. I think I wanted to do, I think writing, I think was up there. I remember writing just this. I was just writing a story. I remember, yeah, just writing random stories pretty frequently. I would do that, and then I loved making people laugh in any way that I could. So I think my dream as a third grader was to just be a writer and just be someone that I can connect with people quickly and make them laugh. And I liked to do that through, yeah, just conversations, and then I enjoyed the writing aspect of it as well. Just writing stories, and then as I got older, my story developed, and I was had the opportunity to then write about it.
So talk to me a little bit about, I know you came to reading late. What was the book that really opened up the doors for you? What's your favorite book?
So, my favorite book is probably The Tale of Despero. I read it when I was in like sixth grade, right? And then after that, I didn't read anything. But that was probably the first book that I was like, oh, reading is cool. This is exciting. And then for whatever reason, I just blew it off. So that's my favorite book. And then what brought me back to reading was probably I read the book. Um, I read the book Holes. The movie Holes.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that movie, and I was like, you know what? I should just start. I want to try. I'll give reading a shot. So then I read that book, and I just realized it just struck a chord with me. I was like, oh yeah, reading can be pretty exciting, and it's such a break too. It's a different kind of break than just scrolling on your phone, which is pretty passive. I think when you read, you kind of get it's an active way to take a break and kind of let your mind relax a little bit. So I think Holes is kind of what got me back into it. And then um, I started to read some more, like some more self-help books. Um, and then, yeah, and then from there, I read not as much as I think I'd like to, but like right now I'm reading the Lord of the Rings books and just kind of trying to work through those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the first thing you wrote where you got a response where you're like, this makes sense. This is what I need to be doing. You got a good response.
Yeah. I was a senior in high school, and I was they had a college level English class that I was able to take my senior year. So it's just English 101. And I oh, I'm lying. It wasn't my senior year, it's my junior year. In my junior year, I was in an AP language class, and I had this teacher that she was the first person to really look at me and say, I think you're a writer. Which I had before then I had never considered, because even now and back then I always thought of a writer as somebody who is pretty I think formal would be the word. They're formal, it's their whole personality. They're probably wearing glasses. I mean, I wear glasses, right? So I guess it adds up there. But like I had this idea of what a writer was and what a writer wasn't. And the things that I enjoyed doing, the music I listened to, I love to skateboard, things like that. It just didn't like click that I'm a writer, because I had this idea of what a writer is, you know. And so when she kind of sat me down and talked me through and helped me understand how to format an essay and then how to improve it. And as I applied those things, then she was like, I think you're right. I think you have a knack for this. Then fast forward to the English 101 class. Um, I there was maybe six total essays that we had to do about just a diversity of topics. And I remember at the beginning of that year, the teacher asked all of us, she said, now, how do we get better at writing? Do we get better at writing through reading, different kinds of genres and different books about writing? Or do we get better at just writing over and over and over again? And everybody in the class said reading, right? You read books about how to write. You read different genres and how a story flows. And I just raised my hand and I was like, I don't think that's accurate at all. I got better at writing because I would write. And she looked at me and said, "Well, Ethan, you're gonna have to learn how to read because you're gonna be reading a lot in this class." And in the back of my head, I was like, "Okay, watch, watch." And from from that moment, I just knew I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna show you how good of a writer I am and how good of a writer I can be." And I made it a point not to read any of the assignments that was given to me because I just had this. I was like I had a vendetta, you know. I was like, "Oh yeah, watch this," and I got 100%. She was the one that was grading all the essays too, and I got 100% on every single essay that I turned in. Every single one. It was like I'm not exaggerating. It was 100% on every single one.
Oh.
And I'm, you know, I'm not trying to brag. I just was like, I just feel like I had a different way about going about improving in something I have a passion for. And so that was the first time I was like, oh wow, I think I have a knack for this. I don't know how. I think I'm just incredibly blessed, you know, and it's a talent, but it still takes a lot of work to perfect. But that was the first time that I attached any value or any sort of satisfaction, fulfillment to writing just through it getting that feedback from a teacher who at first was like, okay, you have a lot to learn.
So who's been your hero in your life?
Yeah, man, a hero. Um, I've looked up to, I think my dad is a huge influence for me. Just seeing how he, well, I don't want to say this. I think my dad is my first hero, right? I have a solid relationship with him now where I can be open to him with anything, and him and I can connect and relate. And he's so good at tough love, which is what I respond so well to. Um, so yeah, man, my dad, he's got to be he's got to be my dad. I have a few uncles as well that I look up to. I'm very close to my extended family, and these guys are just so they're so creative and they're so passionate about some of the businesses that they have and um just their hobbies and just their vigor and excitement for life is very influential for me.
So if you could meet anybody alive on the planet right now that you find fascinating or interesting, who would it be? Who would you love to meet and talk to?
I think it would be awesome to meet and talk to Theo Vaughn. He's a comedian that I like listening to. And I think his story, I just think it'd be so interesting to meet and to talk to someone like Theo Vaughn. I know that you know, I'm sure there are wonderful world leaders out there and things like that, but I think I would have the most fun talking to a comedian, and I think that'd have to be Theo Vaughn.
So what is your motivation, obviously, to get to a point where you can do exactly what you want to do, even with your day job with writing? What is that motivation for you to get up, to work as hard as you do, to get to that point where you want to be and to continue to evolve?
Yeah, great question. It changes. That motivation changes. It's definitely a fluid thing. Because some days I want to get through the day as fast as I can because you know I want to get up because I'm playing soccer at the evening, right? And some days that like that motivation to just do something that day will get me out of bed. Other days though, it's for I guess um a much honorable reason is because I know that I'm the only one that can really put the work in to get where I want to be. You know, there aren't any handouts. Unfortunately, I think we'd all love a handout every now and then, but that's just not the way it's designed. So, you know, some days it's like, okay, I got to do this and I got to do this for myself. I got to do this because if I don't get up and complete the work day and then focus on these other things that I want to do, I'm never going to have the time that I want to have. If I'm always trying to catch up to time lost. I'm never going to get there. So yeah, some days it's that, some days it's, some days it's not even about motivation. It's just about being disciplined. It's about, I don't want to go to work today. I don't want to do this. I would rather just sleep in bed and sleep in all day. That's most days. And it's pretty hard for motivation to punch through that. And so a lot of days it's just disciplined, knowing that this is something I have to do if I want to live a life that is full of passion, of the passion of writing, and is full of the things that I want to accomplish.
What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
Best advice I've ever got. Hmm. The first thing that comes to mind is I worked at a group home last year for a while for at-risk youth is what they're called. And these kids, they would go to the schooling that they went to, they would all go to they would go to one room, and the teachers would cycle in. So they had different teachers would come in, they do their period, then the teachers would leave, another teacher would come. And there was one teacher who was teaching them about fire science. He was a volunteer firefighter, or I don't think volunteer, but he was a firefighter for many years. And one thing that he told the kids, not even to me, but I felt like it was applicable to me. He said, while the kids were, he would bring in his, so this is all over the place, but he would bring in his firefighting suit, the whole suit, the pants, the jacket, the boots, the helmet, everything, and he would time them on how fast they can get the suit on. And while they would be trying to get everything on, they'd be fumbling through everything. He would say, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. You just repeat that, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And that struck me because I'm a pretty wired person, right? I have a lot going on in my head. I have a lot that I want to do, and I'm incredibly impatient. And just to remember that slow is smooth, right? It's okay to follow the process slowly so you don't overlook anything or you don't make any rash decisions. And in the long run, that smooth approach to any goal that I have will be achieved in the most efficient way possible. Right.
So, of everything that you've done up to this point and evolved into, what are you the proudest of?
Up until this point, I'm proud of I'm proud of writing and publishing my book. I think that's got to take the cake.
So, everyone out there has a perception of you, all your readers, family, friends, everyone you work with, but you ultimately run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I love these questions. First of all, they're
Good.
awesome. They're awesome. Yeah, it's getting me to think. And I think that's the nicest way to ask someone, who do you think you are? By the way, that's
Yeah.
great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you didn't mean any bad intentions. I
No, no,
just
no.
like that.
Because yeah, your head goes to that Goodfellas thing. Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
But but it is that whole idea that um, everyone just sees us in this different light. But us being the pilot of what we're doing, it's vastly different because
Mhm.
it does contrast so much with how people actually take us in.
Yeah, it does. And everybody, yeah, there's so many different perceptions of us.
Yeah.
It's so true. I think if I had to boil it down to just a few words, I believe that I am a trustworthy and honest person. And honesty does mean not telling lies, right? But I think honesty also comes with an aspect of being able to look at things objectively about myself, right? Like I know that I'm not the smartest. I know that I'm not the greatest. I can look at myself and say, okay, I know I have some things to improve on, and I'm gonna work hard to improve those things. I think being an honest person is just, if for me, I think it's just a vast, it just means so many things to be honest with myself about where I am, where I've been, and where I'll go. I think that's what I'd have to say is I believe I'm an honest person.
So if you could get into a time machine, it pulls up when we get off this call, and you could go anywhere in the history of time and see one event with your own eyes, where are you going?
Mm, see one event with my own eyes. There's so many to choose from. um, I'm a religious person. I'm a Christian, so I think my first thought would be to just to witness the life of Jesus Christ. Uh, but I don't want to try to push that down anybody's throat. So, um, mm, I think it would be really fascinating to witness the signing of the Declaration of Independence,
Yeah.
just to see what that was all about. Like what the general, I don't know. I just feel like there had to be so much like passion and so much um sort of good positive energy. Like I just wanted to, that would be so fascinating to see, I think. Either that or the writing of the Constitution, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting answer because we're in this media saturation where we have to look at everything from a thousand angles. We have to
Hmm.
delve and delve until we're tired of hearing the story. And these were things that were not covered. You know, you have paintings and you have little vignettes here and there, but as far as it like being something that people saw, like it just wasn't a part of it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You'd get, yeah, you'd get the full picture, you
Yeah,
know. And you could talk to George Washington, right? You could talk to these figures that, well, I mean, they're called the founding fathers,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
so yeah, I think that would just be just so fascinating. I mean, not even to mention like just the light, like the culture and the life that they lived is like completely opposite of how we live now.
yeah,
And it
yeah.
would just be fascinating to see how, like how they operate on a day to day. Like, yeah, that would be probably my go-to.
Yeah, totally. So if anyone wants to pick up your book, they want to reach out to you, learn more about you, any of the good business, where can they go?
Amazon. My book is on Amazon. It's called Nonchalant Perfectionism: Man's Guide to Developing Emotional Resilience. That's where the book is, and then I do have a podcast as well, where I just talk about certain principles that kind of are a supplement to the book. It's called The Nonchalant Perfectionist, wherever you get your podcasts. And then lastly, I am on Instagram at The Nonchalant Perfectionist. I don't post there very often. I have kind of a love hate, mostly hate relationship with social media, but yeah, I'm present enough that I would you could reach out to me there if you really wanted to.
Excellent, Ethan. I love the story. It's inspirational. And you're on the cusp here of so many good things. So best of luck with everything. Keep doing the great work, man.
Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Great to meet you.